briefing be done by the Deputy Press Secretary, and it focuses on today's special cabinet meeting held by the President with his cabinet minister, Mr. Deputy Press Secretary, Liberia.
Okay, so I think Kamo will take the lead. I'm sure we'll just go straight to questions.
Yeah, Mr. Deputy Press Secretary, thank you and welcome to the media. So today is the final, quote unquote, final cabinet meeting just held here at the Executive Mansion by the President with his cabinet ministers. Can you tell us basically the intent, the motive, and what was some of the discussion?
Well, again, let me say thanks to all of you, our wonderful friends out there, especially those of you viewing us via the various social media platforms. This media gathering is very huge, and we are very happy that you all decided to come and follow up on the importance of the President Assembly here on today. Like you rightly said, we've done now with campaign activities, and you are all aware that the National Elections Commission has finally announced the winner from the just conducted elections. So there is a president-elect, and currently the current president is now the outgoing president. And so taking all of what seem to be the necessary formalities are now in work. And so the president on today decided to bring on board all of his appointees, his cabinet ministers, heads of autonomous agency, and other actors within the ambit of his administration. They've all assembled here on the grounds of the Executive Mansion, precisely at the palace of the Executive Mansion. And the President started by again welcoming all of his cabinet ministers. He acknowledged that the assembly today could reference the last cabinet assembly, while it is true that they may meet in pockets at different functions or in corridors at different occasions, but it was intended to again express his gratitude to the team that has worked with him. He also took some time off to reflect on the performance of his government, taking into consideration his developmental agenda, those things that he opted to do for the country. It was also a breathtaking experience for some of the cabinet ministers and junior ministers who attended the cabinet assembly with the president, owing to the fact that the president was very precise in his quest to keep the peace of Liberia, specifically owing to the performance of his administration, and acknowledging the result of the National Elections Commission, speaking about his peaceful conduct of his administration. That was a movement of thought from His Excellency the President, Dr. George Manan Weah. It also afforded the ministers who worked with the President to speak to him directly in terms of their appreciation. So some of the ministers were opportune to tell the President thank you for allowing them to serve their country through his administration. And we are all looking forward to keeping a team steady, ready for our continuing engagement after the election. Even though this government will be gone, the players of the administration are thinking about holding on together and making some more progress and looking at the incoming administration. And as we gear up to the foreign march of Liberia, the president looks very excited. It's been a mixed feelings with the ministers and the vice president and all of those who attended. So the meeting was just intended to again tell them thank you, and they also had some time to appreciate the president. The president has, as of today, mandated the GSA Director General, Madam Mary Bro. You know, we are in transition. Government assets will be very important. So the president has also mandated Madam Bro to start to track the assets of government. It is important for the transition. The president also issued an executive order in the transition of this administration. The Minister of Foreign Affairs is going to work with the team from the president-elect in the transitioning process. Both incoming and outgoing presidents will work with the transition team from both sides. From the side of this government, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, D. Maxwell Kimia, will steer the affairs to the transition within the team from the incoming president, Joseph Boakai. And then both teams will work together, and they will they'll finally give the report to the incoming president and the outgoing president. We also want to inform you that the president has also mandated all of his ministers to take 10 over notes very necessary. So he's given them 2 weeks to prepare the 10 over notes for the incoming administration. There are specific things they ought to take into consideration as they do those 10 over notes. They need to consult lawyers. They need to take into consideration the legal implication of what they are putting into those 10 over notes. So they'll be working with the institution lawyers and also working with the president legal advisor, Mr. Ajiba Benayak, in making sure that those things that they are tracking in terms of putting into the 10 over notes can be genuine, and so that the transition can be very peaceful. So in the next 2 weeks, all of the ministers in the government under His Excellency President Weah will do the 10 over note. They are to submit those 10 over notes to the Director General of the Cabinet, and of course that 10 over note will now be submitted to His Excellency the President, and based on what they will be turned over to the incoming administration. It is important because those new ministers or incoming government will want to know where this government has stopped, what are the issues that they have to confront with, and so the president has taken into consideration a very serious mandate in making sure that all of the 10 over notes be done in time. The transition is town bound. It's town bound, and so it is very important that everyone who's worked in this administration do their respective 10 over notes, so that the incoming administration will not have the headache in knowing where to start from. So those were some of the basic things that came out of the president engagement today.
What was the mood?
Well, I think the mood was of mixed feelings. People have worked together as family. We're all going into election. It also gave us a perspective to understand how the government missed out on the election. There were some issues, but again, as a sitting administration, so we accept the result of the election. The president is concerned about his governance of the country. He thinks that with age and time in his favor, and with a team base concentrating on seeing how Liberia progress after his administration, there could be a comeback. But again, we expect people to be sudden. It was a mixed feeling in the hall, especially some people were very emotional. But again, they took some time off to tell the president thank you. He sat patiently and listened. The vice president also spoke to the president. She was very happy that she served this administration as the first female vice president of our country under this administration, and that means that she's also set a mark in the political landscape of our country. The president took some time off to send some words of motivation to his team to not get discouraged. We can stay come back, we can still work and right the wrongs and see where our pitfalls were, and then and come back maybe in 2029 and see what's the player on the playing turf will be like.
Was there any sign of blame game? Was there anyone who's blaming each other?
What
or
again?
the president blaming his cabinet minister?
What again? That's one thing the president decided to trash. I think we took it as a collective error or a collective fault, and he urged his cabinet to avoid blame shifting. We should rather take it as a fault for the general body. There is no need of pointing fingers at campaign team, pointing fingers at ministers' performance. So we all fail. So we take it as a failure or as a loss to the entire governance of the country under his administration. So yes, he encouraged the ministers and his cabinet team to avoid the blame shifting, but rather take the result and see what good we can take out of it, and see how we can work in the future. Because again, Liberia this year will all be around. It's good that it's a peaceful country. He haven't turned the country over in chaos. We are looking forward to the transition. He's upbeat about that. He's going to be in his private life, and he also took some time off to talk to those ministers to keep the engagement with the party. It is also true that some people may not stand the tension, some will break away, but again, he has encouraged all of the ministers and well-wishers of this party and from the cabinet to keep the party base strong, to reach out to those younger folks who put their life on the line during this campaign. They are taking it very hard. It's difficult for those first-time voters, especially those who haven't experienced what they are going through. He told us to not turn our back on them, reach out to them, go back to your community, start your community engagement, talk to people who are hurt, and avoid the blame shifting. So I think those were a very good message from the president. I'm sure the ministers are returning home with a mixed feeling, but I'm sure that we are happy that we've served this administration, we serve the country, and there's a stage, so we all come and perform, and then we'll quietly leave, and others will come and do what they promised to do.
So this is Arena TV Liberia. The Liberian people want to know exactly as to whether there were this disappointment expressed by those ministers to the president.
The president himself was also disappointed. So it is not just about the ministers being disappointed, but again, the president has avoided the blame shifting. He's asked that we all take it, and blame shifting will do no good. It's not going to turn anything around. You can't be finger pointing at people and accusing people for whatever reason, but we are aware that there were a lot of different situations that that could lead to disappointment. He's also a human, even though he's taking it as a president strong, but in Africa, a sitting president, a little over 1 and let's say 2%, and you throw in the tower. It's a difficult thing to do, but for the democracy that we talk about, and the president has received several congratulatory messages from world leaders, commending him for the decision that he took. And in modern democracy, people rather want to protest. And one thing the president said today, that his decision was meant for the country. There were others who thought that the president was going to hold on and then reject the result and then put kids on the street. This president have said, and that's exactly what he's done. He promised to not lead this country in a chaotic form, and because he's been very peaceful, he's lived up to that expectation. And today he's been commended by world leaders for setting a very high standard in leadership, not just in Liberia. People will right now want to know how resilient we are as a country and how we take these things into consideration. So yes, disappointment between there, but again, he's taking it in good faith. He's going to move on with his life. He's going to keep a team. The transition team have started work, and we look forward to a very peaceful transition.
Yeah, looking at the time frame given by the president in 2 weeks for government official to take over government assets, do you think
He did not say turn over government assets. In 2 weeks.
2 weeks?
2 weeks to do the turnover note.
Okay. To do
So
the
if I'm
turnover
leaving this office,
and
the person who will come here to meet what I'm leaving here, what is here financially. So those technical things that you come and start from a peruse, So those are the kind of things that you should come and meet. You can't just come meet the office and you don't even know whether the office got money in it, or they owing somebody, or there's a planned project in this office. So all of those things should go into your turnover note. Some people working with donors, some people got international funding, some people been working with several other organizations. Those organizations has been doing some other different stuff in helping them out. Some offices are in arrear, so you need to put all of those things in your turnover note. So the next person that comes to that office will know how to take over the office and know where to start from.
Yeah, you said a menu was given to Madam Mary Brock concerning.
Recovery of government assets.
Government assets.
Yes, which is very important.
Do you see the willingness of these government officials in doing that?
But there's no reason to move with government assets. Why will we be taking decks, chairs, and other things from vehicles? So GSA, everything that belongs to government is marked. Everything that the government purchases that is in an office is marked GSA. GSA knows the government assets. So those assets will be tracked. GSA knows exactly where to put the decks, where to put the curtain, where to put the vehicles, where they assign those government properties. So Madam Brown, who is the custodian of the government asset as the head, will now goes back to her record and track those properties and make sure that it is intact. They ought to be intact so that the incoming administration can take delivery of it. It also help the incoming administration settle in very well, as compared to other administrations here where people were vandalizing government offices. This administration will not condone that, and that's why the president re-emphasized, he re-echoed that today. Let us track the assets. Madam Brown and her team will start to work on that, and of course it's going to help make sure that those things are kept safe and the incoming administration will receive it. The ministers will do the turnover note. So when you come to office as a new minister, as a deputy minister, or somebody appointed by Ambassador Joseph Boakai, when you get to your office, you're definitely going to see your turnover note. This government inherited this administration from former President Ellen Johnson. Said it without a document anywhere to trace. But this administration will not do that. We're going to leave all of what belongs to the government. We're going to tell our friends coming in government, this is what we've done. This is where we stop, and this is where you maybe pick up from or trash it and put it somewhere and bring your own document to work with. But for the record, the government have instructed all of its lieutenants to do turnover notes. The good thing about those documents, you have to consult your legal team because sometimes those things have legal implication. So the president has warned them, do it in consultation with the legal team, and also pass that document so that my legal team, headed by Mr. Ajibert Bernard, can also put an eye on it. We are trying to avoid relinquishing this administration and coming back with claims and counterclaims of allegations here and there. So once you got a turnover note, definitely that guards you very well. So if there's anything legally, that means you've crossed all of the T's and dotted the I's very well. And those things will be kept, it will be turned over, appropriated to the administration that is coming. So the president has re-emphasized that everyone goes to their offices. You got a time frame of 2 weeks. We are running with time. It is start for you to go and sit back right now, work on your turnover note so that the administration can come and receive it and start a piece of job that they've been elected to do.
You did mention about the president appointing the foreign affairs minister to head the transition team. Do you care to tell us who are some of those government officials who are part of that transition team?
When I'm sure when the full listing comes out, we will acquaint the public. But again, the head of the transition team between this administration and the administration coming is the Minister of Foreign Affairs. D. Maxwell Sarkimian, and so he's going to liaise with the Boakai transition team and with the other members on the both teams. Once the composition of the teams comes out, again we will inform the public. But you remember the president have issued an executive order. I'm sure it's going to be out before the close of day or latest maybe tomorrow. That may come out with the full listing of the transition team. But the head of that team is D. Max Sakimia. He's going to work close with the both transition teams in making sure that that goes appropriately, so that the both parties can come to a understanding that the transition works very well, and of course the people of Liberia can have a peaceful transition, because President Weah wants to keep the peace. He wants to maintain his character from time past and making sure that this country remains very peaceful.
Was there at any point in time in the meeting where some members of the cabinet thought that the president rushed or was hasty in congratulating Boakai?
Well, I think it was not about rush or being hasty, but there were concerns.
They told him.
He also admitted that people were talking, but again, he didn't want to hold the country hostage. We know that election will be election. People may have seen things differently, but again, the president equally admitted that at a certain point in time we were a little bit careless. Every one of us were the big boys around, and we didn't want to go man our vote. We did not protect the vote. If everyone here who serving as a minister were to relinquish the duties and go to the towns and villages and mount the ballot box, some of the irregularities that we are hearing about that we are now raising who have been protected. But everyone wanted to wear the coat suit, they want to wear the tie. We left the ballot boxes with the little kids out there. And so if people took advantage of it, so it is at our fault. So we are not complaining any longer. The election is over. The president has accepted. We all have accepted. We are moving on into transition. The new government will come. We'll look for the better Liberia.
Is the government ready to fund the inauguration?
Of course, it's a process. It is an obligation. It is an obligation. There will be transition. So no matter how it happens, the government will make sure that the inauguration goes on. That's why the two parties involved will sit and see how much is going to go into the inauguration. I can tell you how much in terms of cents and dollars will come out, because I'm not on the committee. I don't know what the plans are. But again, there will be inauguration. President Weah will peacefully transition. He's going to turn over and he moves on.
Chala TV, my name is Kasim, and Mr. Toby, if you were to recommend to the Boakai's government, what could be that recommendation, Chief?
What should I have to recommend? I'm sure that we are happy that we are giving them a peaceful country. We haven't threatened to give them a better Liberia. We're giving them a Liberia that they can start to work from. This president has done a lot more. He wants to see Liberia better. We'll be watching and seeing some of those commitments that they've made. We hope it goes well. But again, remember, we are watching because we are still in the proximity of power. 6 years, you think is very long, but 6 years, blink within a twinkling of an eye. Maybe 3 years from now, we'll be talking different stories. President Weah stays youthful and energetic. One thing he said today, if Boakai could patiently wait in his age for 6 years, what's about him that is just around his 50s? He could wait 6 additional years. He could just be turning in his early 60s. And then, what else? If we can put someone who is president for Liberia in the age that is over 70, why you think President Weah will be around 60? So there is a prospect, but that prospect will only be actualized if President Weah and his team holds together. And he's urged them to not forget the grassroots. The grassroots base is very important. So again, gentlemen, I want to say thanks to all of you. It's always a pleasure. I'm sure this is my final media interaction. But again, we played our part. We've come here. We've done a lot to serve our country. It was wonderful seeing all of you. We are still around. We'll make comments when necessary. We'll checkmate where lies will be told. We are still in this administration up to January, and so if there's anything out there that you still need some clarification, we will be available to talk to you, but we are not too sure we're going to do it in this very last gathering. But again, thank you for affording me this opportunity for bringing you up to speed with the president interaction today with his cabinet.
The voice of Deputy Press Secretary Smith Toby, updating as it relates to President George. We are meeting with his cabinet. My name is Karsiman. This is Nchara TV. Nchara TV is live, yes, also, and I have some online platforms. You listen to him. He said, Minister of Foreign Affairs is the head of the transition, and the transition, I think, is important. It's important. We just want to say thank you for watching us. We are on the grounds of the executive mansion. Thanks for following us. Kasime is my name, Jara TV. Thank you very much.